I just want to start this video off by again thanking everybody who's subscribed, watched, liked, and joined the Discord server. We're at 350 members on Discord and growing every single day. If you missed the announcement last video, I also started a 2x mostly vanilla server with some quality of life improvements. All of the options for the server are voted on by Discord members, and we're constantly tweaking the balance of the game. On top of that, 26 of you have already shown your support and donated for VIP on the server. This helps out a ton because we're using dedicated hardware in a data center and it's not cheap. You get some nice in-game perks like skin box, box sorter, queue skip, early access to the map seed, and more. There's no pay to win, and there never will be. If you want to play, we maintained around 25 to 40 pops since launching only a couple weeks ago, which is an amazing turnout for a brand new server. We have a really awesome, loyal base of players who just want to see the server grow. Anyways, onto the topic of today's video, the Mega Vulcan. The Mega Vulcan takes the signature Vulcan loot rooms and puts them inside of a group base with 6 external TCs holding up most of it. It includes an integrated compound, quick detachable TCs with no visible soft sides, no gaps, inner and outer peak downs, 2 bedroom floors, a utility floor, and a revised core after the recent patch to vending machines. I know I've mentioned this before, but the whole purpose of the Vulcan is for people who value spaciousness and ease of access over raid cost or efficiency. So if that's not your thing, then this might not be the base for you. Alright, now let's start off with a quick tour of the Mega Vulcan. Starting on the outside, we can see one of our 6 gates. Coming into the courtyard, we'll see a lot of utility items, including external facing vending machines for drones. Taking a look at one of the external TCs, we can see a piece of twig that can easily be shot out to disconnect the TC from the main base. You can also notice that these externals have no soft sides visible, so you can't soft side them. Coming in the front entrance, we'll see our vending machine. We also have 4 drop boxes by each of the 2 entrances. Coming around, we'll find our front door and decor. And we're greeted by a tier 3 workbench and the famous Vulcan loot rooms. If you stand in this corner, you can also use the tier 3 workbench without even dropping down. Coming down into the core, we have a couple shotgun traps blocking the way. And you can see we make use of drop boxes here because they're very cheap storage that stays out of your way. Coming up to floor 2, we have a lot of our utility items from research benches, old workbenches, mixing tables, and more. Feel free to customize this however you need. The third floor contains a few bedrooms, and it'll have more bedrooms above. Each bedroom contains a locker as well. we come out, we can see our inner peak downs. So if somebody's raiding through the walls, we'll be able to coming up to the 4th floor, we have our shooting floor. You'll notice that there are actually gaps in the ground that we can use to shoot out of. However, if you look up in the ceiling, you'll see that every gap in the ceiling is actually plugged, so we don't have to worry about people being able to shoot us through them. Each of the 6 sections of the shooting floor is sectioned off by garage doors. Again, we can see that the shooting floor also contains bedrooms. Going up one more floor will get us into our roof exit. We have auto turret pods on the roof that give us 360-degree coverage, and they're harder to shoot out with HP rockets given their low wall design. And of course, the famous V-shaped roof. That's not famous because this is the first time you're seeing it. We're going to start off like a regular Vulcan using the footprint of a circle base. You can pick one room to put your TC in. I'm going to be using all of the final grades for things, and this video is also going to assume that you're a pretty advanced builder who understands the basics of things like wall stacking. This will be a little less verbose than some of my other videos because I feel if you're building something like this, you probably already have a decent understanding of building. I'm going to build out 8 squares in twig and place a triangle at the end. Now I'm going to remove all of the squares I placed and come back with half moons. Once you get to here, stop and you can delete everything that you've created. Upgrade this, put a square on either end and a triangle on either end of that. And this is the basic design and footprint. I'm going to put 2 wall frames here and then build out with these foundations. This is going to allow us to leave no soft sides visible but connect things still. These wall frames will eventually be used to hold up part of the shooting floor as well. Now build out 3 twig squares and then create raised triangles. We can see this is how our entry gates come together. And make sure that you make this a window. You can place a twig half wall here and then put sheet metal floor frames. Coming back to this foundation, we can half wall it and seal the top. Now we'll build floor frames off of this. Putting steps here just makes it easier to get up and down. And there we go, here's a completed external TC gatehouse. Now all you have to do is break the twig to disconnect the TC. Replacing a twig half wall here will allow you to reconnect the floor frames. Overall, this is what the footprint of the base looks like. If you want to add additional honeycomb to make sure that all parts of the base have 3 layers, then go ahead and place these foundations like so. Now let's go ahead and create the jump up to get into the core. Every other wall I'm putting here is going to be sheet metal, and in between them I'm going to go ahead and put high quality. Basically, the reason for this is because these walls will have honeycomb and the armored walls won't. After honeycombing between all of these walls, we can go ahead and enclose the core. We'll put a wall frame here and a floor frame here. Now we'll go ahead and create a little shelf to put 4 boxes on. This is where I would store my high tier loot overnight. Now I'll go ahead and throw a ceiling on the whole thing. Put double door frames on all of the open sockets. Coming outside, we can put a ladder hatch here and put a double armored door. This will be the entry to our core. Again, we'll do the same thing as we did downstairs. We will go every other with high quality and sheet metal. And go ahead and honeycomb in between each of these. Then put honeycomb over the top of the core. If you want to leave a shotgun trap here, it's a good undrainable one, so go ahead and leave the half wall out. All of these will act as shelves for our loot rooms. We can upgrade this one to sheet metal because it's directly over the core. Make sure to put this floor frame directly above your entry square. And since we put this half wall in earlier, we can destroy that and put a full wall. Then do the same honeycomb we did last time to create a second set of Vulcan style loot rooms. This is totally up to you. You can double stack these ladder hatches, or you can put a single if you find it easier to access. Coming in the main entry of the core, this is where I like to put my workbench. We can also put a few drop boxes here as well. Coming up to this jump up, we can fit another 4 drop boxes here very easily. Going around the outside, we can put double door frames and floor tiles. I'm using symmetry on the build server, so kind of ignore this part, but you can use these twig build-ups to create the bottom triangle in your loot room. You won't need them on all of them though, like the ladder hatch that goes down to core and the entryway. Go ahead and delete the twig from the outside and leave the rest of that. You can build these wall frames up as well. Do the same thing that we did before, doing walls every other in grade between stone and metal. And then go ahead and put a roof on it. Directly above your other ladder hatch is where you can put this ladder hatch. Then go ahead and honeycomb all of the individual rooms. I'm putting a half wall here, so I have an easy way of building all the way around without having to create multiple twig buildups. Now I'm putting wall frames on all of the sockets to put garage doors in between everything. This sections it off and prevents splash damaging all of the loot rooms at once. Coming back in the front entry, I'm going to add double door frames everywhere in this part of the loot room as well. For the same reason, we'll put garage doors on every one of these sockets. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and start building out each of the loot rooms. This uses the same design as the Mini Vulcan. We can put a shotgun trap hanging from the bottom here as well, so if these garage doors get blown up or if they're left open, it'll go ahead and stop people. And there we have it. We have all of our Vulcan style loot rooms put together. Coming up to the next floor, we can go ahead and start creating the top portions of the Vulcan loot rooms. These are super convenient to have for craftable items or raw materials, whatever you need storage for that's not quite as important and may have something to do with any of the utility items under them, like repair benches, research tables, and so on. Now down on the bottom of each one of these, feel free to put whatever utilities you need. And if you need more storage, you can just make these directly into Vulcan style loot rooms. Coming up to the roof, we can start working on our inner peak and bedroom floor. Each of these sockets will be populated with a garage door or double door, whatever you have at the time. Make sure to pay attention to where the soft sides go. You always want to make sure that the hard side is facing outward on where somebody might be coming from. In this leftover triangle, go ahead and throw a floor frame and a triangle ladder hatch. This is going to be one of the methods to get up to the next floor. The others will be actually out in the inner peaks. You want to make sure you have both options, just in case one or the other is compromised. Like the other floors, I'm putting double door frames on every socket and filling them with garage doors to prevent splash. Coming out to these doors, we can use sheet metal to create our inner peak downs. To do these without flying, I would just use twig buildups. Now this is where the base is really going to start coming together. We'll put the honeycomb on all of the external TCs. It's very simple. We're just going to build up with sheet metal. And then the top layer, you can leave stone if you want. I don't think anybody would actually raid through it. But if you want the peace of mind, you can do that one in sheet metal as well. And right here I actually make a mistake. You don't need to honeycomb the outside part here. Just do the inner walls and upgrade them to sheet metal. You can see in this clip what I mean. Next we'll go ahead and put together our two entryways. If you don't have a need for a vending machine here, then feel free to just put another window. Creating these little buildups will let us put two large boxes here as drop boxes. Putting code locks on these prevents somebody who may go deep from being able to access easily the things in your boxes. They can still break them, of course, but it'll take them a lot longer. And this is a proper example of how this honeycomb should be done. To cover these gaps, we can go ahead and put stone double door frames in between them, and you can see they cover them fully with zero gap at all. Like I mentioned before, we can go ahead and create wall frames here that will hold up part of the shooting floor. I like to do them in metal so then they don't easily break. Go ahead and build off of them like this. You can see when you get to this triangle, it'll leave a nice gap right here that you can use as a peek down to see directly below you. Then we can fill in the perimeter with windows. For our shooting floor, we're actually going to mirror exactly what we have on the floor below. So it'll be another bedroom floor with a ladder hatch that goes up to the roof access. So go ahead and copy whatever you did for that bedroom floor and just bring it up. Now here I'm just going to create a basic roof access. So a few windows, couple garage doors, and the entrance to the ladder hatch. Throw on some double door frames in the orientation you're seeing right now. Basically what this is going to do is give stability for the roof. Now that we've finished that up, we have to fill all of these gaps in the ceiling. So there's actually two purposes for this. It's going to fill the gaps, but on top of that, it's also going to give us some different peak angles on the roof. I don't know why that floor tile is missing. Now it's not. Poof, magic. Anyways, let's go back up to the roof in a second here, and we'll throw on the roof tiles to finish it up. This would be the most basic version of this, only using triangle roof tiles. However, we can remove some of these and add in auto turret pods, so we have a little bit of extra protection on our roof. Doing this design with a low wall makes it pretty hard to HV or instant rocket out, because you actually have to shoot the gap and make it inside or hit it close enough to splash it. If you choose to go this route, you can get rid of these two triangle roof tiles and put regular square ones here. It'll kind of bridge the gap a little bit more, and it'll actually offer you an interesting little peak angle here between the triangle and the square one. In the shooting floor, we can add more of these double door frames to section off each part of the shooting floor. So if somebody breaches one part, they're essentially locked into that. Putting garage doors like this will prevent them from being able to freely move around your shooting floor, and it gives you a distinct advantage in a fight. Also, siren lights are a great and inexpensive way to prevent people from being able to directly just ladder up through your peaks. It'll also prevent you from falling through them. In our core, we want to create something called the Ring of Death, where we have just auto turrets lined 360 degrees all the way around, so people have no escape. We can also use chain link fence here and garage doors at the bottom to section off each piece of the inner peak down area, so then if somebody makes it deep past your first airlock, then they get trapped in one of these and they have nowhere to go. In the core, I like to line it with garage doors and put put 4 drop boxes on each one of the walls here. This is kind of an answer to Rust. Patching the vending machine placement, so they can't really be used as storage as effectively anymore. These are super cheap to make and they stay out of the way, so that's why I'm using them here. Then we can just put 4 boxes in here in front of the TC and kind of store our high tier loot down here at night when we log off. I just want to reiterate again how appreciative I am of all of you guys. I know this video took a little bit longer than I expected it to by a few days. Long story short, life's been busy, and a video of this size, a base of this size, it really takes a lot of work. So, you know, if you would drop a like, drop a sub, whatever you can do, I really appreciate it. And make sure to come say hi in the Discord, and I will talk to you guys later. See you.